attention to when you're playing in small groups is you need to listen so that you hear other parts. And that makes you a better musician because you know how loud you need to play. No louder than what you can hear around you. It also allows you to tune your instrument correctly so that when you hit these nice chords, they just sit.
Playing for as long as you have, is there anything that you still struggle with?
Yeah, reading music. When you get older, your eyes kind of go, so you have to adjust, get some glasses to kind of help out. I have special music glasses to be able to read this distance. Many discs just don't have the wind that we used to. Sometimes there are physical limitations. Long walks, getting to someplace. And anything else, guys?
Yeah, I find that I have trouble, like Mike said, reading the music. Right now I'm having trouble because I left my glasses in the car, and so I'm kind of having to guess a lot of notes. I only guessed wrong once the last time. I'm sure you heard that. And but also, I tend to kind of get bored with practicing. That's not always been the case. I was told when I was young if I wanted to be a professional player, I should practice 4 hours a day, and I did that, and I was reading music almost the entire time. But now I tend to like to watch football or basketball, and so I'll do that while I play things that I have memorized, which is a lot of fun for me. But then when I go back to reading music, sometimes I kind of, it's almost like I've forgotten to read. It's almost like I've forgotten how to read. So that's the thing that I've run into.
Yeah, what you do?
I reiterate everything they say. Vision thing is tricky. Now, I went out and I got this really nice fancy pair of glasses. They're good for reading up close, and they're good for seeing you guys clearly. But for reading music in between, they're terrible. And because I was late and I was rushing, I left my other pair of glasses, which are my reading glasses for music, in the car. So now I'm using my ear and my memory to help me remember what notes I'm supposed to play. I can see, some of it, but I don't see all of it. So those are the things that really get to you. And I reiterate also, the practicing, we've been doing this for 50 years or 60 years or whatever, some of us. And practicing by yourself isn't that much fun anymore. But when you get together with people and play, or just a duets or something, that just changes the dynamic. It's like teamwork, and it's just way more fun. So you guys, though, if you're going to go on in music at all, you need to put in those many, many hours of practice at the beginning to get the foundation and learn how to play properly. And then, you could taper it later. The other thing is that we all perform a lot, and we're running from job to job to job. And so there's just more involved with performance and less with practice at home by yourself.
Good questions.
Thank you.
Let's try to move on. We've got about 30 trombones on the email list. And we sit around for a couple hours, a couple times a month, and we read through trombone choir music. So yesterday, there were 14 of us playing 12-part harmony. And if you've never heard trombone choir, I encourage you to go to YouTube and listen to trombone choir music, because some of the trombone choirs at these colleges, there's 20, 30, 40 trombones playing multiple harmonies together, and it is just gorgeous.
I have a question for you. If you weren't here listening to trombone quartets, where would you be?
In the band room? Probably cleaning the band room, yeah.
So, sure we do this every day?
I wish.
You guys go to Solo and Ensemble Festival?
We have not pushed into that just yet, so. But we got an honor band, so.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to do. All of your instruments, no matter what you play. There is music written for 2, 3, or 4 parts or more for your instruments. And I really like playing in a small group because, well, I like playing in large groups also, but playing in a small group is really special because you're the only person on your part. And for me, I like the sound of one trombone. It just gets better when we make 2, 3, or 4 trombones. So getting to play with a quartet with friends, it's great fun. Yeah, you might want to try to find some of that music for your instruments and just have some fun with it.
When I was in junior high and high school in Texas, they have a very big band and football program in Texas. And they encourage you to do the solo and ensemble contest. And there's a district, a regional, and a state competition. And what is really good for your development as a musician is the solo part, because you'll have like a piano accompanist and you'll be playing your part. And you will learn all the little intricacies of playing your solo and how important articulation is to hitting rhythms correctly and a nice sound. Without a nice sound, nobody's going to listen to it. So out of all the professionals and trombone professors that I've talked to over the years, the number one thing that they listen for, first off, is sound. And if you think about it, when you're watching your social media and you're watching somebody, you're listening to somebody play an instrument, if the sound doesn't move you, you don't listen to it. But if it does, you'll listen to it in its entirety. So to hone your skills and go to the next level of playing, I would encourage you to consider solo ensemble contest like Lloyd suggested. Number 6.
So I worked at her when I was in college. When I went off to college, I went to music school, but I went as a voice major. I had been in high school, I was singing in choirs and musicals and stuff like that. And I loved it, I loved singing. But when I got to college, I learned that I was going to have to study a whole different kind of folk music that wasn't very exciting to me. I was into Jimi Hendrix and that kind of stuff. So my friends that I knew at school, they browbeat me into starting my trombone again, which I had played up until 9th grade, and then I quit. So I worked my way up through the ranks as I became a trombone major instead of a voice major. And finally I got into the top orchestra. And I will tell you that I can still remember what a thrill it was to play in an orchestra where there were just 3 trombones and a tuba, low brass section. And to work as a team on all the things that we've talked about here, pitch, articulation, style, dynamics, working as a little team of 4 with the tuba player, or sometimes just 3 trombones, was such a thrill to me. And it's still, even though I play every kind of music that's out there, it's still my favorite. Just working with a team of trombone players like this and refining things, it's really gratifying. Are you guys all brass players?
I'm a brass player.
Couple, few? All right.
I'm a brass player. Brass supremacy.
I have a question.
Yes.
Following music, like in college or after college, like what are some things I should look out for?
Ooh, boy.
Are you looking to be like a music major?
I want to get into music education.
Music education,
Yeah.
very excellent question. Talk with the music education teachers and find out, before you go to that college, talk with the professors that are there and talk with music teachers in the area to find out what the reputation is of that school. And find out what the program is like. I'm going to say something positive about Chico State. I don't know that it's what the programs are like right now, but when I taught there, we had the students go out and work with younger students. A lot of schools, and especially in music education, you sit around and they talk about music education, but you never work with students. And you can't learn to teach until you do teach. So, and I know one of the professors who's still there, she gets the kids out in the very, I think, first or second semester of their time in college, and they're working with the students. So they find out early on, oh, I like teaching, or who I don't like teaching. And that's the first thing to find out. A lot of people go into music education, well, education in particular, because they're thinking things like, oh, 3 months off in the summer. Yeah, I got it. And that's not a reason to go into education. Working with students is tough. You probably experienced that yourself. And so finding out, first of all, do they have the students going out and working with other students and finding out what teaching is like? And second of all, find out if they have, if you're required to play your instrument. One very fine teacher that I came into contact with said, you can't teach how to create beautiful music unless you've learned how to create beautiful music yourself. And so we required some students, some colleges don't require their students to play an instrument, just to go to class. And so they never learned how to make music. Most colleges require them to take private lessons. We require them to take private lessons and to do a solo recital. That way, they show that they really know what they're doing with their instrument. They know how to create beauty. They've been out working with students for most of the 4 years that they've been there at college, and so they already know, this is what I say to the student, this is what I don't say to the student.
So Yuba College, while you're in high school, you can earn college credits going to the community college. And the band program there rehearses on Mondays and Wednesdays for 4 to 6. They also have a jazz band that plays from like 7 to 9 in the evenings. But you can earn college credit by taking those courses while you're still in high school.
I am different from these fellows in that school wasn't for me. I didn't like school. I didn't go to school. but I learned how to play a horn. And playing music stayed with me. I'm over 70 years old. Playing music stayed with me even though I didn't have a profession that was music related. I worked in a big office for an insurance company, but I played at night, I played on the weekends. And I did well playing, and I'm still playing. The point, again, that I want to make is, if you learn how to play music on any kind of instrument, it'll stay with you for the rest of your life, and you'll have an outlet and enjoyment. And it opens a lot of doors for entertainment, personally.
I was not a music major either. I was a business major, and I worked in the oil field and the business world in the rubber industry for about 40 years. But I always played my trombone, and while I tried out to be a band director, I didn't make the cut at the Conservatory of Music in Cincinnati. But somebody said, hey, why don't you try for the jazz band? And so I did. And little did I know that my instructor played in Woody Herman's band with Lloyd many years later. Frank Brown, fantastic trumpet player. But for a long time, I've always enjoyed playing. And when you get older and you can't play the flag football anymore, softball, you can still play music.
This guy, once he retired, he went crazy on music. He is just all about music all the time, every day. It's been fun to watch.
I had to count them up last week here. I was on Q93 promoting to the Christmas. And throughout the year, I played in 13 different musical groups. I never sing. Some of them don't always play at the exact same time, but it takes some real juggling. And it's a blast. And playing with guys like these that have this kind of musical caliber has made me a much better player.
Mike, how many gigs did you have on Sunday alone?
I had 3. Played in Victoria Christmas and Brass Quintet, played in Tuba Christmas, and then played in the community concert band. And, just to plug the community band, if you're a young player and you're looking for an avenue to play your instrument, the community band is great because it rehearses right here in this area.
And you might see your teachers playing their instruments too.
That's right. quartet from a larger trombone choir of retired musicians and non-musicians. And we play a couple of times a month up in Nevada City, or Auburn now, just to keep ourselves in shape and have fun. The whole idea of showing you what we're doing is that we're seasoned players, and even when you get older, you can still enjoy music and have a lot of fun. In fact, if you still want to play, there is a community band that you can participate in, and we rehearse right in this room. It's a lot of fun. We just had a concert this past weekend, and the video will be done by the end of this week and up on YouTube. So if you guys have any questions, raise your hand and we'll be glad to answer them, okay?
How long have y'all been playing for?
10 minutes?
Oh, like I'm talking about experience.
Oh, experience, okay. Go ahead, Lloyd. Just have some fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
You start.
64 years.
Oh,
Dang.
Right?
60.
goodness.
55 years. It's a big number.
Yeah, it's so big I can't count that right. I think it's 64. Yeah. I think I was 10 when I started.
Hey, that's not bad.
So basically you're looking at over 200 years of music experience standing up here between 4 people. That sounds like a lot of years.
I didn't play the whole way straight through. I started at 10, and then I got interested in singing more than tromboning, so I sang for a number of years, and then I went back to the trombone when I was in college, and then I did that for a while, and then I was a dairy farmer in upstate New York, put the trombone away for a few more years, and then pulled it back out again, and I've been playing ever since. So it's not a straight line.
Okay. I went to school to be a band director, but I didn't make the cut as a musician. And so I was a business major, and for 50 years I spent the first several years working in the oil field, and then the last 40 or so working in the industrial rubber industry, selling belts, hoses, conveyor belt, that sort of thing. But I've always dabbled in music.
I was not a student. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to high school. But I learned a trade, and I became very successful. I traveled the world with my trade, and I traveled the world with my trombone. And I had a gig just a few year or so ago in China. I played at a jazz club in Kowloon, it's near Hong Kong, called Ned Kelly's Last Stand. Played a whole week there.
Yep, they can hear you.
Oh, I did, I hadn't thought of it until Doug just said it, but I have played the whole time through since I was 10 years old. I played through school like you guys are doing right now, and then once I got done with school, I went into the Army, played in an Army band, and then was able to get what's called the GI Bill. I don't know if any of you guys have run across that, but it's something that was very, very useful for me because nobody in my family had ever gone to college. I knew I had to go to college to do something with music, and I knew if I went to the military, I could get the GI Bill, which would pay for college. And so I played all the way through college, and then played with some professional groups, and then eventually after the professional groups, I became a teacher, taught public school, junior high bands, and college. Other questions, Brian?
What college did you go to?
The first one I went to was Duquesne, a small Catholic school in Pittsburgh, because they had a good trombone teacher. His name was Matty Shiner. If any of you are fans of jazz band music, you may have heard of the Tommy Dorsey Band. And Tommy Dorsey was like one of the best friends with my teacher there at Duquesne, so I wanted to study with this guy and learn what he could teach me. He taught me an awful lot. I eventually then went to Northwestern University and studied with Frank Crisafulli, who was one of the trombone players in the Chicago Symphony. And then I went to Indiana University and studied with 3 different teachers there who were members of symphony orchestras in the country. Those 3 colleges are the 3 I went to.
Wait,
Yeah.
did you like play with anyone like famous? It's famous now.
Well,
What was the question?
How do you play with anyone famous that they would know as like a famous person?
bands that your grandparents probably knew real well: Glenn Miller, Woody Herman, Tommy Dorsey. I played with those bands. Some older entertainers that I don't know if you will know their names or not. Bob Hope was one. Charo was another one. If you like the Beach Boys, there was Glenn Campbell. Those are the only ones I can think of right now. Oh, I did play for President Reagan's inauguration.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah, President Reagan was a big fan of the big bands, so when he became president, his inauguration ball was at several places around Washington, D.C., and he brought in all the big-name big bands, and we played, one of us would play at each one of the places that he had his ball set up. And they took a picture of us and put us in Time magazine, and I miss being the picture bite that much.
Playing in a small group is that you are the only one playing your part. And so what's important is that you need to be listening to the other people. You should play loud enough that you can hear everybody else. Then you're balanced. The other thing that's very good about playing in small groups that we have all learned is that it makes you a better player. In small groups, articulation for your rhythms are important. da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So what's important there is the articulation, the long, short, hitting the rhythms. Articulation really helps you with your rhythms. If you play it all long, it sounds very muddy. But if you play the articulation correctly, it's nice and clean. So when you listen to us again, see if you can pick out each trombone player. And you should be able to hear what we're playing if you focus on the one. If you lean back and just listen to us all at once, you should hear some really nice chords that come together and make very, very pretty music.
So to me, the most important thing when we're playing any kind of music, particularly in chamber music like this, or brass quintet, or whatever it is how good is the rhythm? If the rhythm is accurate, you'll stay together, and the piece will sound good, even if you're sight reading and you miss a few notes. The rhythm, counting, being on time, being accurate, the most important factor. Pitch is great, all those things count, but rhythm is what holds the group together, it's the glue. So your counting and your knowing what is coming next rhythmically is essential. So really just pay attention a lot to that aspect of your playing.
So before we play the next song, let's talk about the different kinds of trombones that we have. Lloyd, you will tell us about yours.
Basic tenor trombone. That trombone comes in, well, 4 different sizes. There's one about 3/4 of this size that's called an alto trombone. We don't have one of those today, but this is the tenor trombone.
Mike?
Mine is a tenor trombone too, except it has some extra amount of tubing. It has this amount of tubing. So when I have a note that goes all the way out here, I can just push this button and play the same note and keep my slide up closer to my face, so it's easier to play fast now.
Yeah, so that's called an F attachment. But this one comes with 2 extra lengths of tubing and two valves, and if you combine them, you can get down to the extra low notes. So it's a gold-based trombone. Yeah. Do we have brass players in here?
No, French horn.
French horn, that's right, you said.
Trombone.
Trombone? Sweet, good. You gotta have one. Got it.
No, we don't. Dude, we're literally
Playing in small
by
ensembles
yourself.
is really quite a lot of fun, because like Mike said earlier, you're the only one with part. And you notice we're playing without a conductor. You guys have a conductor for all the band work that you do. We don't have a conductor, so we just listen to each other to know how fast and how slow to go. And you guys can have a lot of fun with playing in small ensembles yourselves. Whatever instrument you play, there is music written for duets, trios, quartets, and it's a lot of fun to get together with 3 or 4 friends and make some fun music. And there's also a thing called the Solo and Ensemble Festival that you can go and play for a judge. And a professional judge will listen to you, make some comments on what you're doing that's well, and tell you what you can do next to be even better. So there's some good things you could do.
Really critical, and I'm sure your teacher tells you these kinds of things all the time, but knowing when your part's important and when your part is only important in the back, so that when you're supposed to play louder and come out, and when your part's not that significant, right? So you back off and let the person who has the moving notes or the melody have the spotlight. So just when you're playing, just think about, what's my part right now? If I'm playing a low F whole note, I'm not going to blast that out because it's background, it's support. And then if I have a bunch of fast 8 notes and things like that, I'll bring those out a little bit, play them a little bit louder. So you listen to each other and decide, you know, as you get to know the piece, decide who's got the important part at what moment.
Bye.